Real YouTubers talk about signature moves. It feels like it's been forever since we did a tier list. I don't know why, but that one was really funny to me. Like, there's no real reason it should be funny, but yeah. Anyway, hello, what's going on? It's me. And today we're going to be talking about the signature moves of the new Pokemon added in the Crown Tundra DLC. Now, for those of you who don't know, there were a bunch of new Pokemon and old Pokemon reworked that were added in the DLC. And each one of them actually got a signature move of sorts, with the exception of Spectrier and Glastrier, which didn't technically get signature moves. If you really want to be technical, they technically didn't get signature moves. Also, I'm really sorry about Facebook. I'm going to close it right now. Nobody was messaging me, and then the instant I started recording, it started. But anyway, yeah. So, like, Spectre and Glastrier don't get signature moves on their own, but their fusions do, so we're counting them. Now, some of these moves are really strong, some of them are lackluster, and some of them are just, like, pretty average. So, I thought it could be fun kind of just to talk about the different moves that were introduced and how good they are overall. So, first of all, let's talk. Actually, you know what? Let's start with kind of a weaker one. Let's start with Galarian Slowking. So I'm gonna pull up the moves here as well, just in case anybody doesn't know them, and just to make sure that we have full information, because I don't want to get like base power or anything. But yeah, basically Slowking gets a new move, Eerie Spell. The user attacks with tremendous psychic power. This also removes 3 PP from the target's last move. It's an interesting move. It's not great. Of the moves in this list, you know, these are like I think this is likely the only C tier move in here. The reason is that it's just a strict downgrade over Psychic. Like, yes, in theory, being able to remove 3 PP is like not bad. And like, you know, there's certain strategies. Like, I know if you were looking at this and you didn't know that much about competitive Pokemon, you might think, oh, that's kind of cool. You know, maybe I can, you know, make it so my opponent runs out of PP. But games in VGC take about, what, like 10 turns on average is kind of on the higher end, like 7 to 10 turns, 10 being the upper end. And the odds of this actually playing a role in the game is, like, unrealistic, to be honest. Like, the odds of you actually running an opponent out of PP, they're slim, right? Additionally, like, if this had 90 base power, I would say, okay, it's B tier, right? It's like, it's not like an upgrade over Psychic, but it's a side grade. And, like, you know, chance to lower what is Psychic? It's like a 20% chance, 10% chance? 10% chance to lower special defense is, like, not that useful. So, like, you could argue this is an upgrade, right? Because, like, the situations where it will maybe affect how the game plays out, maybe. However, yeah, like, it's weaker. So you're really never using this. And I don't even know if you'd use this over a move like Psyshock, which is the same base power. So, unfortunately, Galarian Slowking kind of gets shafted. And, yeah, its move just isn't that useful. Regieleki is interesting. I like Regieleki's move personally. Let's talk about that one next. We'll do the Regis next. I guess this move Thunder Cage, which is 80 base power, single target, and traps the opponent for 4 to 5 turns. Now, people aren't using this move that often. One of the downsides is that it's 90% accurate, but the passive damage is really nice, and the trapping effect is really nice. So, the move is really good. Like, Thunder Cage is a phenomenal move. If you gave this to, like, Tapu Koko or something, like, last generation, it would have been broken. I think the weird thing about Regieleki is that, like, again, it's 80 base power, and, like, it has a 90 base power move, Thunderbolt, which is, like, typically going to be your default stab move, unless you want to click Electro Ball. But, yeah, like, it's not as strong on the immediate thing, and also it's not 100% accurate. So, the effect is really nice, but I find that with Regieleki, it's, like, either you want to Volt Switch out, like, you have, like, a bad matchup against, like, a Ground-type Pokemon, so you Volt Switch the partner, or a Grass-type Pokemon, so you Volt Switch the Grass-type Pokemon, or you're hitting things for neutral, which means you're doing a ton of damage because of how strong it is, in which case maybe the immediate damage output is more valuable. So I think the move itself is really good, but we're also thinking about, like, since these are, like, signature moves that were added, all of these are signature moves, so, like, we're going to treat it on how good the Pokemon can utilize it as well. So I'm putting it in B tier. I'm not saying I think Regieleki is B tier. I'm saying that I think that the signature move itself is not phenomenal. So, yeah. Sorry, it's not even that it's not phenomenal, it's just that it's kind of, like, awkward to mix it with Regieleki. I totally believe in this move. I think that it works in certain situations. I do think it has potential. The 90 accuracy really spooks me, I'm not going to lie. Personally, like, it's just, you lose a lot over Thunderbolt, even though in the long run, like, it's maybe more valuable, like, if you're able to stick Regieleki around for several turns, or if you can make use of the trapping effect. Keep in mind also that if Regieleki switches, Thunder Cage's effect will vanish. It's not like a static condition like Burn or Poison, which remains on the target. It's tied to Regieleki being on the field. So if it faints or if it switches out, then yeah, like Thunder Cage will go away as well, which is another reason I'm not putting it in the A tier. Next up, we have Regidrago. Regidrago is an interesting Pokemon. Weird stats overall. It has a very interesting move that I always forget if it's single or double target. Cerebi's not always useful for like telling me what's that. Does it say here? Does it hit both? I thought there was something here that said it hits both opponents. All opponents. Okay. So this is Dragon type Eruption. Yeah. So it's basically the lower HP you have, the less damage you do. Now, this is an interesting move because like Regidrago has also this Dragon's Maw ability, which is just like Regieleki's electric type ability, Transistor ability, which means Dragon type moves are very powerful. Regidrago, I think I mentioned this before, is kind of like Dracovish in the way that it plays, in my opinion. I haven't seen it like really any of it, but if it's moving first and it can click Dragon Energy, then that's pretty strong. I think overall, I would like Regidrago is so much weaker as a Pokemon than Regieleki, but the signature move is actually I think like it's better for Regidrago than Thunder Cage is for Regieleki. Like I've been playing a fair bit of Pokemon and like I really haven't seen Regieleki click Thunder Cage yet. I think people just aren't running it, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, but yeah, like it doesn't necessarily mean that it's like yeah. It's just not, it's just not like maybe as useful as we would hope. Next up, the birds. Let's talk about Articuno first. Articuno is interesting. So Articuno gets Freezing Glare, which is, unlike Slowking, it's 10 base power higher. It's 90 base power. So remember what we were talking about like with Psychic? Or with Psychic versus, yeah, with Psychic being 90 base power, like, this is just a strict upgrade. Basically, 10% of the time, instead of dropping Special Defense, you're going to freeze, which is a big deal. I think that in terms of moves and in terms of how this interacts with Articuno, this is a strict upgrade, right? And a really good default spammable stab move. So I think this is an A tier move. I don't think the move is like so broken, but it's just an upgrade, right? And the move itself is also good. Like it's just like a 90 base power, no drawback move, like Psychic, except that when you get your 10% chance, which like again is like not that uncommon, then you freeze, which can win you the game. So yeah, I think this is actually a really good move for a Pokemon like Articuno. Like it's stab, it's an upgrade. Overall, it's a really strong move. Let's talk about Zapdos next. Zapdos. Okay, Zapdos. Thunderous Kick. So Thunderous Kick is interesting. It's a 90 base power, no drawback move that lowers the defense stat of the target. However, unlike Articuno, who doesn't have like stronger options, Zapdos has moves like Close Combat and Superpower. Meaning, in other words, that there is a strong drawback to using Thunderous Kick because you're losing 30 base power, which is a big deal. Now, the secondary effect is good if you're going to stick around, if you can, like, you know, like, if you can combo with a partner. I don't think it's a bad move, but, like, given the alternatives, I think this is probably a B tier move. Like, kind of similar to Regieleki, where, like, the move itself is totally fine, right? And, like, if you really want to use it, like, you totally can, but I think there are better alternatives for the Pokemon in question. So, I could be wrong about this. Thunderous Kick might turn out to be the best fighting move on Zapdos, but at least my initial impression is that you typically want, like, a 30 base power difference is kind of a big deal. So, yeah, that's my initial impression of it. I could be wrong on that one, though. And then last of the birds, we're going to talk about Moltres. Moltres Galar is an interesting one. It gets basically improved Dark Pulse. Fire Breath is a 90 base power move that hits both targets, and has a 20% flinch rate, which is very high. This is just like, it's not necessarily a Dark Pulse upgrade. It's a Dark Pulse, like, it's a less powerful. Wait, where's Dark Pulse? It gets Dark Pulse. I know it gets Dark Pulse. Okay. Yeah, like, so basically Fire Breath is 90 base power, whereas Dark Pulse is 80 base power, and Dark Pulse's chance to flinch is also 20%. Okay, so it's basically just spread Dark Pulse, but slightly stronger, which means it's, like, overall slightly weaker. So, yeah, so basically for those of you who don't know, when you play Pokemon, use a spread move, it gets a reduction in doubles. This doesn't happen in singles. So Earthquake in singles is 100 base power, but in doubles, all spread moves, all moves that can hit more than one Pokemon, and all moves that will hit more than one Pokemon, counting, like, Protect and stuff. There's not really the time for that, but yeah. Basically, effectively, if it hits more than one Pokemon, most of the time, it's going to be doing a reduced amount of damage. So even though it says 90 base power, it's actually only 67 base power. So it's 13 base points lower than Dark Pulse, but the effect is really good. Being able to hit both targets and potentially flinch them is very, 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 very valuable. Like, if you flinch a Pokemon, it's a free turn, right? So yeah, this is a very, very powerful, very, very powerful attack. If you're faster than the opponent, you can just click this move. Like, we always talk about how Rock Slide is like one of, if not the most broken moves in the game, and that's 30% chance to flinch on both, but only 90% accurate. So, I have to do the math. I don't want to do it on the fly here, but I'm pretty sure the flinch chance is like not that far apart, given that you have like, oh god, yeah, this is like, I can't do this on the fly. But yeah, basically you trade 10 chance to flinch for 10 accuracy, meaning you always hit, which is a pretty good trade-off. Moltres is also like looking, the more I use Moltres, the more I see of Moltres, the more I like it. At first I was like, this thing's garbage, but the more I see it, the more I like it. So, yeah, I absolutely have faith in Moltres, and it's a really good move for it. Because although it's like not the strongest, the effect is just so good. And having a spread move that you're stab typing is like also pretty good. Last but not least, we have our 2 calorics forms, so let's talk about them. We'll do Ice Calorics first. So Ice Calorics, broken Pokemon, absolutely broken. And it gets, let's see, Glacial Lance, which is a 130 base power move that hits a target that never misses. It should be pretty obvious that this is an S tier move, especially on Calorics. Like, it has very high base attack. You can see here, 165 base attack with a 130 base power, no drawback, stab ice move that never misses. Like, 130 move with no drawback is insane. Like, moves like Hydro Pump, which are 110 base power, have like 85% accuracy or something like that, right? Like, you think about Focus Blast. What is Focus? Does it get Focus Blast? Okay, it doesn't get Focus Blast, but I don't even use Focus Blast, but I'm pretty sure it's like 110 or 120 base power and like 70% accurate, right? And you have here a 130 base power move that never misses, with no drawback. Not like Close Combat, which lowers your stats, right? Not like Blast Burn, which makes you recharge, right? This is a stupid move, like an actually stupid move. And I don't even think it's the stronger of the two. If we want to talk about the actual stupidest move in the game, well, not actually, but this one is actually so dumb. Astro Barrage, absolute S tier. You might say, hey, Wolf, this is 10 base power lower, and it's Ghost type and special. Like, so shouldn't it be about as good as the Ice one? Well, I'd agree with you, except it hits all Pokemon. It hits both Pokemon on your opponent's side of the field. This is a 120 base power, which remember is spread, so what, this is like slightly less than 100. 90 base power move on each target. That's Stab. And Ghost type. Keep in mind, Ghost only has 2 things that can do anything against it. Dark types and normal types. Normal types typically are, like, not the best on their own, so they'll show up in dual typing, but yeah, like, ignoring Follow Me, when you consider the stats as well, okay, 165 base special attack, 150 speed. Like, okay, that's cool, and then you consider the ability, like, which every time it gets a knockout, it gets, a special attack boost, and because of its ability, you can't even use, like, Kasib Berry, like, you can't even use, like, Kasib Berry Lunala to survive. I don't know if Lunala survives it because of its ability, but you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a very, 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 very powerful attack. Yeah, I think, like, this thing plus Indeedee are just going to be, like, it's just going to be Indeedee Ice Horse, or Ghost Horse, and then, like, Helping Hand Expanding Force and Helping Hand Spectral Lance, or whatever it's called. What's it called? Spectral Lance? Astral Barrage? And, yeah, like, it's just, like, free wind. So, yeah, this thing is actually super broken, in my opinion. Anyway, that's our tier list. I think this is relatively fair. Like, it's kind of funny because, like, Regieleki is in the top tier, right? And yeah, like, I don't know. Like, Regidrago is probably low tier. Slowking might be a tier up. Like, Moltres might, like, given that these two aren't legal, like, if we were just talking about current format, I might even put, probably not Moltres in S tier, but compared to everything else, Moltres and Regieleki are the best in my opinion. So it's kind of funny that, like, they're not at the top of this list, but anyway, yeah, I think that's all I have to say about it. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Please subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.